Illarigu Namaskaram. Chakravarti ji, Nityanandan ji, members of the YUVA Brigade, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. With your permission, I would like to speak in English, but I assure you that on my next visit, I would speak a few words in Kannada. YUVA Brigade, as the name signifies, is a brigade for the future of India. Subhas Chandra Bose was a youth leader. And it was Subhas Chandra Bose who had inspired the youth of India to stand up and fight for the freedom of our nation. It is unfortunate that the true story of India's freedom struggle has not been written and prescribed in the textbooks of our schools and colleges. No nation can prosper if it loses the thread of history, heritage, and culture. And it is because of this that the open platform for Netaji in 2012 had met the then Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shri Narendra Modi ji, and requested him to kindly put pressure on the central government so that the true history of India's freedom struggle is written and placed before our great nation. Narendra Modi ji had told us that yes, he would take it up with the central government at the appropriate time. Elections were held in 2014 and the government at Delhi changed. The NDA government came to power and Shri Narendra Modi ji became the Prime Minister of India. We reminded Shri Narendra Modi ji that when you were the Chief Minister of Gujarat, we had requested you to take up the issue of rectification of history. Now you are the Prime Minister of India. Don't you think it is your moral duty to implement what you had stated earlier? I am happy to state that Shri Narendra Modi ji has created history himself. By declassifying the Netaji files on the 23rd of January 2016. And by doing so, for the first time in the history of independent India, a government is born, a government which believes in transparency, a government which believes Satyameve Jayate. It is written in our constitution, Satyameve Jayate, but it has never been implemented in independent India. So 23rd January 2016 is a historic day. That first time a transparent government was born, which happens to be the 119th birth anniversary of the liberator of India, Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. Since 1857, I would talk about the history for a while, and then we would come to the relevance of Subhas Chandra Bose in 21st century India. What does Subhas Chandra Bose mean to the YUVA, to the youth of India today? As you know, in 1857, when the Sepoy uprising took place, that was the first battle for India's freedom. It had started way back in 1857. There were revolutionaries and freedom fighters like Mangal Pandey, Shahid Bhagat Singh, Khudiram Bose, Binoy Badol Dinesh, and many, many others who sacrificed their lives by going to the gallows. Yes, there was the non-violent movement of Mahatma Gandhi. It had its contribution. It made people aware that as a nation we should be free. But Gandhiji's movement had serious limitations. You cannot drive out the might of British imperialism by begging. Freedom has to be won. You have to snatch freedom. Freedom cannot be begged or negotiated. I will come to that later about the Azad Hind Fauj battle. But first, I would like to state, why did India lose its freedom to the British Empire? Anybody, do you know why we lost? Well, that is a reason which was later, which came up. But the Battle of Plassey, if you recall, when the East India Company came to India, they had first come for business and trade. They did not initially come to capture India. But they realized that India is one of the richest nations of the world. And if we can capture India and steal all the wealth from India, then Britain would become one of the richest nations. Therefore, Robert Clive gave the leadership and came to India and attacked. The Battle of Plassey is one of the historic battles that was fought. But Siraj-ud-Dowlah was a great warrior. He probably would not have lost so easily. But why did Siraj-ud-Dowlah lose? Anyone? Because of Mir Zafar. But do you know, his Senapati was Mir Zafar. But the main issue here is many, many Mir Zafars were born in India for over 200 years. And that is why India was under British domination for 200 years. Because of Mir Zafars who were born. Britain ruled India with the help of Indians. In the British armed forces, there were Indians. The British Indian Navy, the British Indian Army, and the British Indian Air Force had Indian soldiers. So it was with the help of Indians that Britain could rule India for 200 years. But there were these unsung heroes, there were these revolutionaries who did not hesitate to give up their lives. We have forgotten the heroes for whom we are free today. The time has come, and it is the responsibility of the government, it is the responsibility of every Indian that we should recognize the contribution of the freedom fighters who gave their lives so that we could breathe in free India today. Yes, Subhas Bose was a brilliant academic, was a brilliant student. He sat for the ICS, Indian Civil Service examination. Yes, he stood forth. Do you know Subhas Chandra Bose got only 8 months to prepare for the ICS examination? It was a full-time 2-year course. But Subhas did not have the time. He studied for 8 months and sat for the exam, and he stood forth. If he could get 2 years, the full term, probably Subhas Bose would have stood first in the ICS examination. But what we find in Subhas Bose's character, he always chose the difficult path. ICS examination, career in ICS is a very comfortable position and assignment. But Subhas Bose realized that the call of the nation is more important than a comfortable position in the ICS. He decided he cannot serve the Britishers because Britishers were ruling India. We were slaves, we were enslaved under the British domination. So he resigned from the ICS. He resigned from a most comfortable career and plunged into the freedom movement of our nation. In 1922, Subhas Chandra Bose joined the Congress platform. I would like to state that the Congress was not a political party in those days. It was a platform to fight for India's freedom. And everyone, whoever was interested to fight for India's freedom, joined the Congress platform. So I would refer to it as Congress platform and not a political party as it is today. My grandfather, Sharat Chandra Bose, Subhas Bose's elder brother, also was a senior leader of the Congress platform. He served the Congress platform for 42 years, much more than Subhas Chandra Bose. But he had to resign from the Congress platform because of differences with Pandit Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi over the partition of Bengal and partition of India. I will come to that a little later, but I would like to state that within 10 years of contributing in the Congress platform, Subhas Chandra Bose rose to become the president of the Congress platform. It was a meteoric rise. In 1938, the Haripura Congress, Subhas Bose was elected as the president. But he was very inclusive. That time it was not politics. It was one goal. And Subhas Bose had that one focus like Arjuna had. As you all know, if you have read the Mahabharata, Arjuna, when he had to win over Draupadi, the test that he had to undergo with his bow and arrow, he had to pierce the eye of the fish. So Arjuna was asked that, what are you looking at? Are you looking at the wheel up there? Arjuna said, I am not looking at anything, but I am looking at the cornea of the eye of the fish, which I would pierce with my bow and arrow. The same focus Subhas Chandra Bose had, like Arjuna had, for the freedom of this nation. In 1938, it was Subhas Chandra Bose who formed the first planning committee of India. he realized that you need to plan. Subhas Bose stood for political freedom, economic freedom, and social freedom. A country cannot progress unless you have these triple bondage. You see, Britain had kept India under triple bondage of political, social, and economic freedom. He wanted complete independence, both political, social, and economic. We have achieved political freedom. But I would like to question the YUVA who are present here. Have we achieved Subhas Bose's ideal of social and economic freedom in 2016? It is a debatable subject. We can discuss over hours, but I will come to that. Now, in 1938, Subhas Bose sat with the Congress Working Committee. He gave a proposal that we must have an armed struggle to drive the British imperialist power from India. No, Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Nehru stated that we will negotiate freedom. Have you ever heard anywhere in the world that you can negotiate freedom? Even if today somebody is arrested, either you have to pay a ransom or you have to fight to get out of your clutches of your kidnapper. You cannot beg for freedom. So in 1939, the differences started mounting. But I would like to state, in 1939, the Tripura Congress election, Subhas Chandra Bose was re-elected for the second time as the president of the Congress platform. That time it was not a political battle. It was a battle for India's freedom. But it is very unfortunate that Mahatma Gandhi, who Subhas Bose respected, had great honor for Mahatma Gandhi. It was Subhas Chandra Bose who had called Mahatma Gandhi the father of the nation from Southeast Asia. But Mahatma Gandhi put up a separate candidate for the Congress presidential election in 1939, Pattabhi Sitaramaiah. But Subhas Bose was a mass leader, was a popular leader. He had total support within the Congress platform. And he defeated Pattabhi Sitaramaiah in 1939. I would like to tell my friends in the Congress party today that the 1939 presidential election was the last democratic election that the Congress has seen. The Subhas Chandra Bose's election of 1939 Tripura Congress. After that, the president is selected and not elected. Selected from a dynastic family. It is a disgrace that India is one of the largest democracies in the world, but a national political party's elections are held only from within a dynasty. Ye kya baat hai? This is amazing. Either you say that your party is a dictatorship. Be honest. Adolf Hitler had declared himself as a dictator. He did not mince his words. So either you say you believe in a democratic setup, you believe in a democratic election, or you say that no, we believe in a dynasty, or we believe in dictatorship. However, 1939, in spite of becoming the Congress platform president for a second term, after defeating Gandhiji's candidate, Pattabhi Sitaramaiah, Subhas Bose found it very difficult to work within the working committee. He was opposed at every step. He realized that the Congress leadership in 1939 did not have the charisma, the talent, or the expertise to drive out the British from Indian subcontinent. That is why he resigned from the Congress presidentship, and you know, he was expelled from the party subsequently. I would like to know from the Congress party today, when they have meetings, they still put Subhas Bose's photograph on the dais. They say that he was our leader. He was our Congress president. Of course he was. He was the last elected president that you have had. It's a fact. But you cannot put Subhas Bose's picture on your dais because the expulsion order which was issued in 1940 is still valid. The Presidency College had rusticated Subhash Chandra Bose because Professor Oaten had made certain derogatory remarks about fellow Indians. Subhash Bose had protested. Therefore, he was rusticated from the college. But at least the Presidency College has the decency to withdraw the expulsion order. But the Congress party today doesn't have the decency to withdraw the expulsion order of the last elected Congress president that they had. These are historical facts which are suppressed. Now Subhas Bose he realized that the Congress the Congress platform does not have the charisma to attain freedom for the nation. That is why he went abroad to take the help of foreign nations. He went to Germany. It was probably not the ideal partnership, but Subhas Bose was a pragmatist. A lot of people have said that Subhas Bose was a fascist. A lot of people say that he was a leftist. A lot of people say he was a communist. Subhas Bose was neither a fascist, nor a leftist, nor a rightist, nor a middleman. But Subhas Bose was a pragmatist. And today I find similar characteristics in the present Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. He is also a pragmatist. Subhas Chandra Bose was one of the first nationalists of India. And we can be proud today that Shri Narendra Modi ji is the nationalist of India of 2016. When we had approached Shri Narendra Modi ji, we have been writing to all the Prime Ministers of India, right from Pandit Nehru to Dr. Manmohan Singh, that please declassify the files, please release the files. The people of India would like to know what happened to the liberator of India, Subhas Chandra Bose. No one bothered for the last 69 years. The first Prime Minister in independent India who had the guts to honor Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, the liberator of India. Only a leader recognizes another leader. I would give an example. When Subhas Bose went to Germany, he had to wait for a very long time to meet the Führer, Adolf Hitler. He probably disliked Adolf Hitler, but he had no option. Between the Congress platform and Adolf Hitler, he thought the German army is definitely in a better position to drive out the British out of India. So he was a pragmatist. So my enemy's enemy is my friend. That is the policy he adopted. He had to wait for a long time, and Adolf Hitler gave him the appointment. So when he went to meet Adolf Hitler, the procedure followed in the Führer's office that you had to wait in a hall, and many of Adolf Hitler's doubles used to come and meet the visitor and go away. 7, 8 of these doubles came, saw Subhas Chandra Bose sitting and reading a newspaper, and they went away. And then finally Adolf Hitler came, and Subhas Bose stood up. So Adolf Hitler asked Subhas that, how do you know that I am the actual Adolf Hitler? Because 8 of my doubles have come and seen you, and you have not bothered to get up. But why did you get up now? This is a story that I have heard from Subhas Bose's colleagues of the Indian Legion in Germany. So Subhas told Adolf Hitler, when he was shaking hands, that picture a lot of you might have seen, Subhas Bose meeting Adolf Hitler and shaking hands. So he told Adolf Hitler that only Adolf Hitler can put his hand on Subhas Chandra Bose's shoulder. The actual Adolf Hitler came in and put his hand on Subhas's shoulder, and he realized that this was Adolf Hitler. And then they had discussion. Hitler could have just assassinated, eliminated Subhas Chandra Bose. He was some sort of a mad person, as you know. But of course, his love for his nation, his love for Germany, you cannot question. But he was a ruthless dictator. But why didn't he take any action on Subhas Chandra Bose? Do you know, when Subhas Bose was talking one-to-one discussion with Adolf Hitler, Subhas Bose mentioned to him that Herr Hitler, you see, Subhas had to do a crash course in Germany because Adolf Hitler was very anti-British. Although he knew English, he would never speak in English. So a crash course Subhas had to undergo in order to speak to Adolf Hitler in German. So Subhas said, Herr Hitler, that is Mr. Hitler, you must delete the paragraphs that you have written in your biography, Mein Kampf. Many of you might have read Mein Kampf. He said, you know nothing about India. You may be a German, you're European. He was Austrian by birth, Hitler. But you don't know anything about the rich heritage and culture of Bharat, India. I insist that you delete what you have written about India and Indians, because you are ignorant about India. Hitler could have just killed him with one bullet. But Hitler realized, here was a leader, here was a freedom fighter, here was a revolutionary who was tantamount or equal to him. That is why he let him go. This was one-to-one discussion. Maybe Subhas Bose was lying. Subhas Bose probably did not have these discussions. But he made a statement, a public statement, sitting in Berlin. He clearly made a statement to Hitler's Germany. Hitler was trying to attack the Soviet Union. And Subhas Chandra Bose made a statement that the German aggression of the Soviet Union would be opposed by India and Indians. We would not tolerate aggression of Germany. Again, he would have been eliminated, but he did not, because Hitler realized the strength that Subhas Chandra Bose had. From where did Subhas Chandra Bose get this strength? He got it from Swami Vivekananda. At the age of 13, Subhas Bose had left his home to become a spiritual leader. A lot of people probably are not aware of this, but he realized that the call of the nation, the responsibility that he has to liberate his motherland is more important to completely lead a spiritual existence. That is why he came back. But his spiritual guru was none other than Swami Vivekananda. My father, Amayanath Bose, was very close to his uncle Subhas. They even shared the same bedroom for about 6 years. And my father used to say, when Subhas was very upset, very annoyed with happenings in the Congress platform, he used to sit down at night and meditate for about 3 to 4 hours. That is how he got his strength. He was a very spiritual person, a very adhyatmic person. And that is how Swamiji is responsible to ignite the freedom fervor in Subhas Chandra Bose. You know those words, awake, arise, and stop not till the goal is reached. Subhas Bose practiced Swamiji's words. He did not stop till India is liberated. He followed the principle and ideology of Swami Vivekananda right till the end, right till his death. But today, India doesn't even know how Subhas Chandra Bose met his end. It is a disgrace, it is a shame that 70 years have passed and we have not even found out what had finally happened to Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. So it is now that the government is taking the right steps and the right effort. For the first time, it is not only Subhas Chandra Bose, it is all the heroes, the unsung heroes, right from 1857 onwards. All of them would be given their due place, recognition and honor. That is the demand that the people of this nation has done to Narendra Modi ji government. And the government has assured the people of India that each one of them would be given their rightful place and honor. Now Subhas Bose from Germany, he realized that geographically Germany is too far. It is not possible to attack British India from German soil because it is too far. So he realized that he has to go to Southeast Asia. Now during the Second World War, how can one go to Southeast Asia? He approached Adolf Hitler. Many people say, many enemies of the nation, many enemies of Subhas Chandra Bose say that Adolf Hitler did not even help Subhas Bose. So how did Subhas Bose go to Southeast Asia, to Japan? It was Adolf Hitler who organized the submarine, a 90-day submarine. No man on earth has ever undertaken a 90-day submarine journey during conditions of Second World War. Hitler gave him the submarine, he proceeded. But you know, again Subhas Bose took the difficult path. When the submarine reached the coast of Madagascar, you see, here we visit the sea beach. In Mangaluru, I went and saw the very calm sea. We go to Gopalpur, we go to Puri. You don't see tidal waves 30 feet high. Off the coast of Madagascar, 30 feet high tidal waves are there. Under such conditions, Subhas Bose's U-boat had reached Madagascar coast and he had to cross over to the Japanese submarine. The German captain of the submarine has written a biography which we read. He stated that this was an unusual person, Subhas Chandra Bose. He wanted to cross over 30 feet high tidal waves. It is impossible. So the German captain told Subhas Bose, we have to go back, because no way we can go anywhere near the Japanese boat. We will collide and both the submarines would sink, all of us would be dead. My Führer, Adolf Hitler, has given me permission to reach you to a point, but not to die. So I cannot take the risk. I don't have the permission to die. I have the permission to reach you to Madagascar coast. Now you have to make your own way. I cannot go near. Subhas Bose said that you please organize something else. So the captain of the German submarine said, I will give you a small raft on the high seas, 30 feet high tidal waves. Just imagine, a small raft, you and your people can get into that and sail across. But I suggest you don't do it because survival is not even 0.1%. Subhas said, I have come all the way to liberate my motherland. I have not come back to go back to Germany. Subhas Bose, with his ADC, with his assistant, Abid Hassan, got into that small raft and went across. The captain of the German submarine writes that I could see the raft going up on the tidal wave and sinking. I was absolutely sure that these people would be dead. But he did not die. Subhas Bose could reach the Japanese submarine, and that is why I feel Subhas Bose did not die in the air crash, because his liberation war was still on. He did reach Manchuria, and from Manchuria he did go into the Soviet Union. A person whose life is based on the teachings of Swamiji cannot die so easily. He reached and he took over the reins from Rash Bihari Bose. He took the leadership of the Azad Hind Fauj, the Indian National Army. Now history has been distorted. I think the time has come. We expose the traitors of India. Who are the traitors who have distorted the history? When did India become free? Was it 15th of August 1947? Yes, YUVA Brigade. When did India become free for the first time? Anyone who can answer? It was not 15th of August 1947. That is incorrect. 0 marks. 21st of October 1943, the first provisional government of free India was established at Singapore under the presidentship of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. This is the correct history. And today, I am happy to state that the government of India, under the leadership of Shri Narendra Modi ji, has decided to rectify history and put it down that it was 21st of October 1943 was the Independence Day of India. And it was what kind of independence? It was Akhand Bharat. It was united India. It was an independence of the entire Indian subcontinent. Then, when did the first time the Indian flag, हम लोग का जो तिरंगा झंडा है, पहले बार कब इसको आप लोग लड़ा है? अब बताइए, when was it hoisted for the first time? Anyone? No, not 15th August 1947. That is the distorted history written by traitors of this nation. It was 30th of September 1943 at Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And it was the first president of free India, Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, who hoisted the tricolour as Shahid and Swaraj Islands. This history has also to be corrected. Then further, I would like to state, very successfully, successive Congress governments have distorted history. They are successful. They are very happy about it. But the people of India will not forgive you. The youth of India, the YUVA of India will not learn distorted history. They want to know the true story of the Indian freedom movement. First time on Indian soil, Indian subcontinent soil, when was the first time the Indian national flag was hoisted? Anyone? You have got 0 marks till now. 14th of April, 1944. For the first time in the history of India's freedom battle, in the history of India's freedom movement, Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik of the Azad Hind Fauj hoisted the Indian tricolour at Moirang in Manipur state. And Moirang was in the occupation of the provisional government of Azad Hind for 3 months. This history has been obliterated from the history books. So, the moral duty of the present government of India is to reinstate the correct history of India's freedom struggle. Yes, after 3 months, Britain again occupied Moirang and INA had to leave. But the other story doing the rounds, Azad Hind Fauj never surrendered to the British. It is written in textbooks that Azad Hind Fauj surrendered with the Japanese Imperial Army. Incorrect. The Japanese Imperial Army surrendered, but not one soldier of Azad Hind Fauj, Indian National Army, surrendered. The battle continued. Subhas Chandra Bose had stated 70,000 soldiers were recruited, joined the Indian National Army. People from South, your ancestors had great contribution to the freedom of this nation. People from Karnataka, people from Tamil Nadu, people from Kerala, people from Odisha, people from the Punjab, all over India, they had contributed and joined the Azad Hind Fauj to fight for their motherland. Do you know 26,000 lost their lives, which is 44%. Nowhere in the history of any war across the world such sacrifice has been recorded. This kind of sacrifice of losing 44% of the soldiers for fighting for their motherland is in the history of Indian National Army. And this history has been obliterated, wiped out. We want, the Indian people want, the nation wants, all nations who have fought for their freedom struggle, who have got inspiration from Subhas Chandra Bose, they want this history to be reinstated. Then after that, I would like to state how India actually attained freedom. Contribution was there of the revolutionaries right from 1857 onwards, I have already stated. There was also the non-violent movement of Mahatma Gandhi, which made people aware that we should be free. People didn't even know that you should be free. एक थप्पड़ एक गाल में लगाता तो दूसरा गाल दे देता, हाँ इधर भी थप्पड़ मार दो. That you should hit back. No one knew. But Mahatma ji said, ठीक है वे थप्पड़ खा लो और बोलो we want freedom. No one gives you freedom. अब थप्पड़ खाएगा तो थप्पड़ ही खाते जाएगी. You have to give it back. That was the true nature and character of Subhas Chandra Bose. He never tolerated any nonsense. So when the Azad Hind Fauj soldiers and officers were brought back to India in 1946 and they were put up on trial as war criminals, do you know what happened? There were 3 officers of the Indian National Army who were tried at the Red Fort in Delhi. Shahnawaz Khan, a Muslim, Prem Kumar Saigal, a Hindu, and Gurbakh Singh Dhillon, a Sikh. They were tried as war criminals for fighting against and revolting against the British Empire. A very renowned lawyer, Bhulabhai Desai, stood in the defense of these INA officers. The international law those days stated that if one nation declares war against another nation for the freedom of that nation, you are heroes and not war criminals. That was the argument of Bhulabhai Desai. It is a fact that even Pandit Nehru put on his gown, lawyer's gown, and appeared on behalf of the war criminals. He was a briefless lawyer, but he put on his gown and appeared. I will tell you, a lot of people say that he admired Subhas Bose and the Indian National Army. If I have enough time, I will tell you that story also, how much Nehru admired Netaji and Azad Hind Fauj. Little later I will tell you. But I would like to tell you here what Bhulabhai Desai argued. The war tribunal, the British tribunal that was held, totally collapsed. They realized, yes, Bhulabhai Desai is right. They are fighting for their motherland. And it is the provisional government of Azad Hind, recognized by 9 nations. All the Axis powers had supported and acknowledged this government. So a government is fighting against another government. It is not insurgency. It is not terrorism. It is a war for liberation. So all these officers were acquitted as heroes of India. But I understand that Subhas Chandra Bose is still a war criminal in the books of the British Empire. And the government of India has not bothered to take up this issue with the United Nations. Subhas Bose's officers were declared as heroes. But even today, is Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose still a war criminal? We would like to get those files declassified from the British government. I understand the NDA government has written to the British authorities for declassifying the MI5 and MI6 files of the British intelligence. Now, still, you see, the INA actually lost the battle. Everybody knows it lost the battle. It did not surrender, but it lost the battle all right. Is it true? Yes, the INA lost the battle, but won the war. Do you know how? I will tell you how. I will give facts and figures. I don't want to make a statement which I cannot substantiate. It lost the battle but won the war. Because in 1956, Lord Clement Attlee had come to Kolkata, and he was staying with the then acting governor of Bengal, Justice Fanibhushan Chakravarti. He was also the Chief Justice of the Calcutta High Court. Justice Chakravarti asked Lord Clement Attlee, who was the Prime Minister of Great Britain during the transfer of power, he asked him that what made you leave India? Is it Gandhiji's Quit India movement, or is it something else? Because you won the war. Actually, Britain, the Allied powers, actually won the war. Second World War, you won. So if you win the war, why do you run away? You should have continued your empire in India. Lord Clement Attlee smiled and replied, Gandhiji's non-violent movement had MINIMAL effect, impact on the freedom movement. So then, Justice P.B. Chakravarti was more confused that Gandhiji's movement had no impact. You had won the Second World War. What's the karan? Ab kyun chale gaye? Then came the reply. The battle of the Indian National Army, Subhas Chandra Bose, and the subsequent INA trials, which were held at the Red Fort in Delhi in 1946, completely destroyed the loyalty and allegiance of the British Indian forces to the British Empire. These are not my words. Lord Clement Attlee, who signed the transfer of power papers, said it. This is documented, but this document is being suppressed by successive Congress governments. So we requested Narendra Modi ji, ये डॉक्यूमेंट आप निकालिए और भारत देश के सामने पेश कीजिए. P.B. Chakravarti has documented this in a book. That book is not available. That it was the INA trials which caused the naval mutiny in Mumbai. The British Army and the British Air Force revolted across the country. You see, the British Indian forces had Indians. Like I said, Britain could rule India with the help of Indians, with the help of Mirzafars. When the British Indian soldiers and officers saw that we are fighting against our own brothers and sisters of the Indian National Army, this is something which we cannot accept. How can you fight with your own brother and sister? So they revolted. And because of this revolt, Britain realized time is up, and they left India. Now, you don't have to even accept Lord Clement Attlee. My father, Omionath Bose, met the last Viceroy of India. Who was he? Mountbatten. This was in 1976. You know, in 1979, Lord Mountbatten was assassinated by an IRA bomb blast. In 76, my father, Omionath Bose, and my elder brother, Surya Kumar Bose, who met Narendra Modi ji in Berlin when he went. Surya Bose is based in Germany. Surya Bose also was with my father in 1976. They met Lord Mountbatten. Lord Mountbatten's assistant told my father that please don't ask too many questions. You can ask one question only, because he is not keeping very well. My father said, I will only ask one question, not two questions. So my father asked Lord Mountbatten, that what made you leave India? Because you won the war. Gandhiji's movement was over. Congress was not in a position to really bargain for freedom. Softly, Lord Mountbatten stated, Indian National Army, Subhas Chandra Bose, and the INA trials which completely raised the foundations of the British Empire. These are facts of history which has been obliterated from the history books. We will put it back. We have to work with a scheme. Any assignment must have a time frame. So we have taken a time frame that by 2019, the true history of Indian freedom movement would be placed in front of the nation. Now, regarding the declassification of files, 23rd January was the beginning. 2016 was the beginning of the process. Yesterday only, Mahesh Sharma ji, the Minister for Culture, Government of India, has made a statement that 23rd of February 2016, a further 25 classified files would be declassified and put on the public domain. For the first time, an elected government of India is actually keeping to its commitment. Every month, 25 files. On the 23rd of every month, 25 files would be released and put on a website which all of you can access and see. What happened to Subhas Chandra Bose? The story goes that there was an air crash and he died in that air crash. That was the Congress story. There is another story that he went through Manchuria. He either went to China or the Soviet Union. There is a third theory that he actually came back to India and lived as Bhagwanji in Faizabad. What is the truth? Deliberately, the previous central government of India tried to confuse the issue. Why confuse the issue? Who does it benefit? There were 3 commission of inquiries which were formed by the government of India. The first one was the Shah Nawaz Committee. Shah Nawaz betrayed Subhas Chandra Bose and the people of India. Why do I say it? Shah Nawaz Khan was with the Indian National Army for 15 months only. For the rest of his life and career, he was with the Congress party. He was a cabinet minister in Nehru's government. Obviously, he would be loyal to Pandit Nehru. He has to be. If I work for someone, I have to be loyal to that person. Shah Nawaz Committee, there were 3 members. Shah Nawaz Khan, this was in 1956. Shah Nawaz Khan, Suresh Chandra Bose, who was Subhas Chandra Bose's elder brother, and there was a civil servant, Mr. S.N. Moitro. Shah Nawaz Committee findings were that he died in the air crash. But Shah Nawaz Saab never thought necessary to go to Taiwan. If an incident has happened in Taiwan, how can you sit in Delhi and write your report? I've never heard anything like this. Incident happens, first job is to go to the site. No, he thought not necessary because he had decided what to write in his report. So why should he go and create complications? But Suresh Chandra Bose submitted a dissentient report to the Shah Nawaz Committee. Where is that report? It was suppressed by the Congress Nehru government. We have demanded to the present NDA government that Suresh Chandra Bose's report be placed in the Houses of Parliament. What is the fear? If this man has not died, why do you want to kill him? If he has not died on the 18th of August 1945, why do you want to kill this man? There is no conclusive evidence till date to establish the air crash theory. तो भाई इसको क्यों आप मरवा रहे हैं? Dissension report, Suresh Bose, with his own money, had published it and had put it in the market. The Congress party bought all the reports and burnt it. These are facts of history. We have presented a copy of the dissension report to the present Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, and requested him to have a discussion in Parliament and place it in the National Archives for researchers to study. Narendra Modi ji has committed to do this. People of India, members of the Bose family. Now, Subhas Chandra Bose doesn't belong to any family. Yes, it is a fact that I am privileged to be born into the Netaji Bose family. But Subhas Bose had clearly told my father, Amyunath Bose, that my family, the people, each one of you are Subhas Chandra Bose's family. Subhas Chandra Bose, his entire nation was his family, and the nation belongs to Subhas Chandra Bose. This is the fact of history. People rejected the findings of the Shahnawaz Committee. A second commission of inquiry was formed called the Khosla Commission in the 1970s. In 72, 73, it started its work. Justice Khosla was a friend of the Nehru-Gandhi family. So his job was very clear, that you must exactly to the letter write your report based on the Shahnawaz Committee report. So again, a false report was submitted. And Justice Khosla also did not visit the site. However, he wasted the taxpayers' money, he wasted your money, our money, and went to Taiwan. He sat in a hotel room and wrote his report. He feared that if he goes to the aerodrome where the crash was supposed to have taken place, or he goes to the crematorium where Subhas Bose was supposed to have been cremated, he will probably get a shock. So he didn't dare to go there. He sat in the room and wrote his report that Subhas Bose died in the air crash. The people of this great nation did not accept both these false reports subscribed by the government of India. Therefore, in 1999, the NDA government, under the leadership of Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, formed the third inquiry commission, Justice Mukherjee Commission. And it was the first time Justice Mukherjee was a very respectable judge of the Supreme Court of India. He decided that if I take up this assignment, I must work with sincerity. I must not do exactly what the other reports have done. What was that? Write a false report. I will not take the assignment, but if I take the assignment, I will do justice to the job, and I would go to Taiwan and see the records. I would like to also state, let's be fair, that even the then NDA government, although it appointed the Justice Mukherjee Commission in 1999, all records were not shown to Justice Mukherjee. I don't know what problems they had. If the NDA government would have got a second term, maybe the files would have been shown. But that 5-year period, Justice Mukherjee did not get full cooperation even from the NDA government. I must state that. But he was allowed to go to Taiwan. He went to Taiwan. And do you know what he saw? He went to the aerodrome where the air crash was supposed to have taken place. He went through the records and he was shocked. There was no air traffic movement on the 18th of August 1945, 1 week before and 1 week after. So where is the air crash? Now you can say that after the Second World War, no proper record was kept at the aerodrome in Formosa, present-day Taiwan. But that's not correct. On the 25th of September 1945, there was an American bomber which had crashed at the same place, and full record is kept of the names of persons who died, the Americans who had died. So why shouldn't? It is an accident. It is not somebody has killed him. If an air accident takes place, why won't you write Subhas Chandra Bose, Commander-in-Chief of the Azad Hind Fauj, died. General Shri, who was the general of the Japanese Imperial Army, died. Why won't you write? Then Justice Mukherjee went to the crematorium. Justice Mukherjee went to the crematorium. He went through the records. He was shocked. He saw a certificate, a death certificate of a gentleman called Ichiro Okura. Who is Ichiro Okura? A Japanese soldier who died of a heart attack. It has nothing to do with any air crash. He died of a natural cause, of a heart attack. He was cremated and his ashes were kept at the Renkoji temple. Do you know Government of India spends lakhs of money to keep those ashes at Renkoji temple? This is amazing. Those ashes should be given to Ichiro Okura's family. Poor chap Ichiro Okura's family could not get his ashes. Those are kept there because of falsification on the part of successive Congress government. What is the fear? If Subhas Bose has died, what is the fear of keeping classified documents? If a man dies, you close the files. You don't open a file of a dead person. But till the late 90s, files are being created on the disappearance of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, who has died on the 18th of August, 1945. Anywhere in the world, I have seen a file being created of a person who has died 70 years back. So obviously he did not die. So Justice Mukherjee Commission, for the first time, the first commission of inquiry to do proper research. This is a question of research. It is a question of investigation. I may believe anything. Family members may believe anything. Scholars may believe anything, that he died or he survived. But it is a question of conclusive, clinching evidence which would establish any of the theories. None of the theories are conclusive as on date. But Justice Mukherjee clearly said, Subhas Bose did not perish in any air crash. Subhas Bose went through Manchuria to the Soviet Union. Subhas Bose is dead now, but how he died, he is not able to decipher because the documents were not made available to him. That is how the movement of declassification of Subhas Bose files is imperative today, and we are very happy to state that the Narendra Modi ji government has acted positively to the call of the nation. We will have to wait till 2019 to find out the truth as to what happened to Subhas Bose. In the meantime, we have also requested the Government of India that we must have access to the erstwhile KGB archives. If Subhas Bose was in Soviet Union, in Soviet Russia, KGB would certainly have files on Netaji. So we must have the files. So we requested the Prime Minister to ask the Russian authorities, and I would like to state that Sushma Swaraj ji, the Honorable External Affairs Minister, has officially sent a letter to her counterpart in Moscow that we want the KGB files to be released. Now, we had met Narendra Modi ji on the 16th of December prior to his visit to Moscow. In fact, we are very happy that he released a book, The Bose Brothers and the Indian Independence, an insider's account, published by my elder sister Madhuri Bose. And on that day, on the 16th of December, we requested the Honorable Prime Minister that when you visit Moscow, please request President Putin personally to release the KGB files pertaining to Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. And I am again very happy to state that Shri Narendra Modi ji has kept his word. He had personally requested President Putin to release the KGB files. And President Putin has also made a statement that his government would cooperate with the government of India to release the files pertaining to Netaji. So we will have to wait. You see, India has been very tolerant. Today people talk about intolerance in our country. I don't think India is at all intolerant. India has been tolerant for the last 70 years, waiting to know the true history. If that true history is not known now, then maybe India would become intolerant. Therefore, India is a great nation. People like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, people like Gokhale, people like Swami Vivekananda, people like Ramakrishna Paramahansa, people like Khudiram Bose, people like Shahid Bhagat Singh, people like Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose have taken birth on this great nation of ours. So it is the duty of the youth. You are the future of India. So I call upon the youth, believe in the teachings of Swami Vivekananda and practice what Subhas Chandra Bose actually preached and practiced and implemented, the teachings of Swamiji. It is not too late. Everything is still not lost. We have lost many years. But I think we can still save this nation. But this nation can only be saved if we practice what Subhas Bose had actually preached and practiced: unity, faith, and sacrifice. Today the youth must be inspired by the three things that Subhas Bose had told the Azad Hind Fauj soldiers when they went to the battlefront. That bhaiyo aur behno, इत्तेफाक, इत्तेबाद और कुर्बानी आपको देने पड़ेगा. You must rise to the occasion of unity, faith, and sacrifice. Give me blood and I will give you freedom. Only Subhas Bose could demand this, and the nation responded positively. So today, we want the youth of India. India is a nation of rich history, rich heritage, and rich culture. We must not forget our roots. A nation cannot progress if the youth of this nation forget their roots. तो आप लोग जागो. You must awake, arise, and continue till we can achieve prosperity. That prosperity is not for individual. That prosperity is for the nation. Collective prosperity, that is what Subhas Bose stood for. And today, I think we have found a leader. After many, many years, almost after 70 years, maybe we have found a leader in Shri Narendra Modi ji, who is inspired by the two great men who we remember the most today, Swami Vivekananda and Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. A nationalist party cannot ignore the ideology of Swamiji and Subhas Chandra Bose. That is why my proposal was to the Bharatiya Janata Party that if you are a nationalist party, if you believe in nationalism, if you believe that India should remain united, if you really want to know what secularism is, listen and practice the ideology of Swami Vivekananda and Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. And I am again very happy to tell the youth who are assembled here that this proposal has been accepted by the leadership of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The other issue is about development. Subhas Bose and Swami Vivekananda, who I consider were the makers of modern India, the true makers of modern India. Swamiji believed in modern science and technology. I think a lot of you are there from the information technology field today. We have to believe in modern science and technology. Then only we can move forward in the 21st century. And as way back, Swamiji and Subhas Bose wanted India to have a strong military leadership, industry, and certainly India was an agrarian society. But what happened to India? Our economy is lopsided still. For the first 10 years after independence, we should have concentrated on improving our agrarian society, agriculture. But there were serious flaws of the first 2 terms of the first government of India. They stressed on industry first. Certainly industry has to come up, but not neglecting agriculture and farming. Because India primarily was an agrarian society. You stabilize farming and agriculture and then move on to industry. If Subhas Bose would have returned to India, India would have been what Singapore is today. The same structure Subhas Bose would have followed as was followed in Singapore. Singapore got independence much later than India. Singapore got independence in 1965 only. But see where that nation has prospered. Yes, it is a very small nation. That is a fact. But they have progressed because they have been very focused. A nation must know what are the strong points that it has. India was a very strong nation on the agrarian side, as it was neglected. Even today, as a nation, we are not able to feed our population. It is a disgrace. Subhas Bose this is not the India that Netaji had dreamt for. Netaji wanted India to be extremely prosperous. At least we could feed the nation. But it is not late. Let us bring back the ideology. Let us see whether we can achieve economic and social freedom. And yes, we need to be inclusive. A word which is being used, secularism, or people talk about sampradayikata, sampradaik. What is sampradaik? What is secularism? There is nothing known as secularism, by the way. If you follow the ideology of Subhas Chandra Bose, you will maintain communal harmony across the country, across the nation, across the world. Because he practiced secularism. It is good to give a speech from a dais and talk about communal harmony if you don't practice it. In the Azad Hind Fauj, Subhas Bose practiced secularism and communal harmony. In the Azad Hind government and in Azad Hind Fauj, there were Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs who ate together slept together and fought together for the freedom of their motherland. Do you know there was one kitchen in the Azad Hind Fauj? All used to eat from one kitchen. The British armed forces had separate kitchens for Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs and others. But Subhas Bose made it one kitchen. This was the unity that he could influence among the people. Then he realized people used to greet each other in the morning. Some people used to say adab, some people said namaste, somebody said good morning. He said this will not work. So he coined a phrase. What is that phrase? Yes, he said Jai Hind. Today we also use it, but do we know why it was actually came into force? Everyone in the Azad Hind Fauj and the Azad Hind government started greeting people only by saying Jai Hind. And it is a very good thing that today the Indian Army and the Indian police forces has adopted this phrase Jai Hind when they greet each other. And even the Indian Army today has only one kitchen. This certain things, at least the armed forces and the police forces have imbibed and learned from the provisional government of Azad Hind, the first free government of India, and the Azad Hind Fauj. So, friends, we can continue discussing, but I think there are other speakers as well waiting to say what they want to say. But one message I would like to give to the youth of this nation, that it is not lost. The youth of this nation can still make India one of the best and greatest nations of the world. It is your duty. So you will have to rise to this occasion. You will have to rise to this occasion because people like Swami Vivekananda, people like Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose were born in this land, in this sacred great land of India, and they have shown us the path. It is for the youth today to go on that path and take India forward. With these words, I would like to thank the organizers of the YUVA Brigade for giving this opportunity to come and say a few words in front of you. I will come back again. I very much like this city of Bangalore. I will come back. I have never seen so much warmth from people of Bangalore. I travel across the country, but this is a welcome that I have received very rarely. Jai Hind! Jai Hind! Jai Hind! Bharat Mata ki! Bharat Mata ki! Bharat Mata ki!